Shalom, Shalom, Israel. I want to start this by giving all honor, all praise, and all glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, B'chak. So this world so ignorantly calls God and Jesus Christ and the Holy Spirit in the ancient Paleo-Hebrew tongue. I want to give double honors to the elder of the men of Israel camp, Elder Kazak, who teaches well, who rules well. I want to give double honors to the elders across the four corners of the globe, starting with the elders of GMS from Elder Tahar on down, who teach well and who rule well. I want to give salutations to the brothers that are of the hopeful elect, teaching in truth and in righteousness. And I want to give a shout out to the brothers that are likened unto the speckled bird, causing confusion among the heathen while having a facade of the heathen, because we are not the black Hebrew Israelites. We are all forms and shades of brown. Okay? So all y'all brothers, I like to say Shalom, Salakim. It's the weather getting to me. Salakim. But I got one preset. It's another video on fasting. You know, I'm in a state of fasting right now. So this is the book of Matthew chapter 17 in verse 19. Then came the disciples to Yahushua apart and said, "Why could we not cast him out?" And Yahushua said unto them, "Because of your unbelief. For verily I say unto you, if ye have the faith as a grain of mustard seed, ye shall say unto the mountain, remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove, and nothing shall be impossible unto you. Howbeit this kind goeth not out, but by prayer and fasting." You know? So through faith and prayer and fasting, in Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah, man, you can do anything, basically. Nothing is impossible is what Yahweh Shah is getting at. Right? And, you know, funny thing, man. I tried to look this up. So we just read 19, 20, and 21, right? So I tried to read this in the NLT, and 21 ain't there. See this? Afterward, the disciples asked, you know, look, 21 ain't there. Even when you go into the book. Oh, my bad. Go to Matthew 17. See? You go 18, 19, 20, and then 22. I found that to be very strange. But anyway, to the Akim. And you can do anything through faith, prayer, and fasting. And this doctor, he's got a great video for fasting, for weight loss. If any brothers is trying to lose weight, you know, as I am, trying to get down 30 pounds. I'm currently 245, and I want to get down to 215, you know. And we do so through prayer and through fasting, man, you know. You know, everybody that's sat on the highways and byways ain't in shape, you know what I'm saying? You know, so, but like Elder Tahar said, man, you should be walking every day. You should be doing something for your body every day, you know. And he said from when you was 20, 21 to 25 or whatever, whenever you was in your prime, he said you should still be that right now in today's time, you know. So I got to get back down to 210, 215, you know. Alright, I'm gonna play the video.
Conversation. I heard you say something when we were talking about easing somebody into these fasts for the first time, and depending on their goal, it being a bit different, whether they're trying to regain metabolic health or lose weight. And obviously, if they're regaining metabolic health, one of the side effects will be weight loss. But talk about that nuance between how you'd set up those fasts for those two different situations.
You're absolutely right. If it's for metabolic change, I don't want my patients to lose too much weight, although they will lose weight and it'll be visceral fat. So let me just tell you a little bit about visceral fat. So fatty liver is visceral fat. Fat around your pancreas is visceral fat. The fat that you can pinch on your belly, put your hand on it and you squeeze your fat on your belly, that is the subcutaneous fat. there's a totally different physiology of that fat from the visceral fat. Visceral fat is toxic. If you did a biopsy of it, it's full of inflammatory cells. Lots of inflammatory cells. And they'll be producing lots of cytokines. And that's why they destroy even that organ. That's why the liver can get destroyed by, people say, oh, it's just a fatty liver. No, it's not. It's an inflammatory condition. So it's important in metabolic patients that I want their metabolic, the fat that's in their liver and the fat that's around the pancreas has to go away. So they will lose some weight when they start doing this. You can do an ultrasound of your liver to look at the fat. You can also now measure visceral fat. There are some machines that are available. The DEXA scan machines can measure visceral fat. And you can also do it on a CT scan, which I just started doing to look and quantitate the visceral fat. So on my metabolic patients, I'll have a parameter to follow to say that, yes, you did lose 20 pounds, but it came out mostly from your visceral fat, and here's the numbers. You don't have to do all that. You don't have to be that fancy. But in metabolic patients, they will lose some weight. The weight loss will be mostly visceral, and my patient's first words out of the mouth is that my stomach went down. Look, if you are lean everywhere and you have a big stomach, you have a problem. And that stomach will be, your belly will be tight. There's not too much fat to squeeze on it, but it's out there. And when that goes in metabolic patients, they're going to lose weight. But that's what I'm looking for, because the first place that you lose the fat is the visceral fat. So first and foremost, look at yourself in the mirror. If you're not fat, but you have a belly, you have a problem. If you look at you sideways and your belly's sticking out, but looking from the back, you look great, you have a problem. If you're a man and your waistline is more than 35 inches.
And this is why this exact reason that he's describing the view of the human body in a man. You know, like when you look at me, I'm not fat. You know what I'm saying? I'm not fat on the sides, no none of that. I'm very lean. You know what I mean? I don't have no fat arms, no none of that. You know. But I do have a belly, so with that, you have to lose the visceral fat, and you do that through fasting. Like, I'm not gonna eat nothing until I know we're not supposed to talk about our fast and all that, but I mean it's for edification's sake. So I'm not gonna eat nothing until probably tomorrow after the Sabbath. You know, because Thursday night, on a Thursday eve starts the Sabbath, and it ends Friday night. So probably Friday night I might eat something small, like a couple eggs, because I don't want to eat big after 3 days of not eating and then go to sleep on it. You know what I'm saying? So I'll probably eat maybe a couple eggs. You know what I mean? 70 calories a piece. So you eat 3 of them, that's 210 calories. You know, and then you can do some push-ups and go to sleep on it. You know what I mean? But that should make you full, because you ain't got nothing. You know what I mean? Your body right now, my body right now, is in a state of keto. You know what I mean? Like I got my body is basically surviving off of fat that's already stored up. You know what I mean? And I mean, you're gonna get lightheaded and all that, you know, but what he's saying, it describes me on the money, you know. But prayer and fasting, man.
Inches, you have a problem. If it's a woman and it's more than 33, 34, there's a problem. There may be, and look, not everyone's going to have a problem. They are metabolically normal obese patients. They don't have inflammation. They don't have metabolic disease. They don't have high CRPs. They don't have a low HDL. They don't have a high triglyceride. And they don't have high blood pressure. They don't have visceral fat. So not every obese patient is metabolically deranged. If you're metabolically deranged, the fat from your belly has to go. Okay. So when they lose weight, I'm not asking them to lose total body fat. And many patients come to me and say, "Oh, my muscles are going to be gone, and I'm going to become frog legs." And I say, no, that's absolutely not true. In fact, if you take 2 cohorts of patients, one is on a low-calorie diet, but spaced out 5 times a day, versus the one who's doing fasting. The one who's doing fasting will actually maintain more muscle mass. And I want you to know that, because fasting makes you lose preferentially the fat that's in your ectopic fat first, the visceral fat. The caloric restriction patients, they will lose fat everywhere, a little bit from the visceral fat, subcutaneous fat, and from the muscles as well. And this study has been done and has been shown, because the physiology of fasting is different from caloric restriction. Calorie restriction spread over the day is different from no calories all day long and then calories only in a time-restricted fashion. In a fasting program, the growth hormone levels go up the longer you fast. And growth hormone maintains muscle mass. You get BDNF, brain-derived neurotropic factor. You also get autophagy, which of course we can talk about, all these beautiful things that happen to the body in the fasting state. You get stem cell mobilization. All these things happen in a fasting state. In a caloric restriction state, these findings are not there. So the physiology is totally different. You have to do the fasting. So the metabolically deranged patients, they will lose some weight. And when they are eating, I'm not asking them to count calories. Look, I don't count calories. It's very simple. Eat real food. Life is complicated already. Don't be taking pictures of them and saying, oh, I got so many fats and so much carbs and so much this. Look, it gets too complicated. Life is complicated already. Just simplify. You have metabolic disease, you're going to do time-restricted feeding. When you do eat, I can't tell you what to eat. You may be Chinese, or you may be Indian, or you may be American, or you may be European. You're going to eat what you normally eat, but whatever you eat, however you cook it, however you do it, make it all natural. So it has to be real food, and don't kill your food. That means don't overcook it, and we'll talk about this, advanced glycation end products, burning foods, and the way you cook it, and don't put wrong ingredients into it, like vegetable oils and stuff like that. So my feeding pattern is very simple. You metabolically say, okay, fine, I'm not counting your calories. I'm not restricting how much you eat also. When you do eat, you will sit down and eat till you feel good, and then walk off the table. But you're going to be eating real food. Now, my obese patient, he's a little bit different. He needs to lose a lot of weight. So I'll just give you an example. I just saw a patient of mine yesterday who came about 7 or 8 weeks ago, and he was quite obese. And I gave him this introductory pattern of what to do, and I wrote it all out for him that, okay, for 2 weeks you're going to do the time restriction in a 18-6 fashion, and then you're going to start giving me a 3-day water fast, and then go back to eating 1 meal a day for 7 to 8 days, and then do another 3-day water fast. Because with him I was far more aggressive, because I wanted him to lose weight. He came back, he already lost 46 pounds. 46 pounds! And he was doing the urine tests, and he says that when I'm fasting now, by 30 hours, my urine dipstick, which costs pennies, showed that my ketones were dark blue, off the chart. Now, as a patient, you know how good he felt when he saw all that blue? You need to do that. So you motivate yourself. Look, all this blue stuff. Where is the blue stuff coming from, these ketones? They're coming from your liver. How did they get to your liver? They came from fatty acids being converted to ketones in your liver. Where did the free fatty acids come from? They came from fat. Every molecule of ketones that you saw in your urine came from fat. You're basically peeing away some of your fat. Now take that home. So in him, the difference in him was we wanted him to lose weight. So what he was doing is excellent. He was doing 3-day water fast, and then 5 to 6 days of OMAD again, and then 3-day water fast and 5 to 6 days. I won't do that to my metabolic patient. My metabolic patient is...
Okay, so when he says OMAD, that's OMAD. Understand that that's just eating one time a day, one time in 24 hours. you know, and that's what I was doing before I start watching this guy. You know, I was like 700, 800 calories. You know, so I meal prep for the week. I had me some salmon. They give you like 10 of them come in a pack from the Whole Foods. It's like $30-something, and I just make them and make it on the grill. And then I had me some onions and some broccoli, man. That's it. Had me 2 3 ounce little fillets, and then onions, broccoli. That's it. And one time a day. I try and do it at 11 or 12, you know. And I take my lunch break. But yeah, OMAD is once a day, for those who didn't know. Salakia.
More gradual. This guy's going to lose a lot of weight. And also what he was eating was very important. So with this particular patient, I did attempt to make sure that his meals, of course, are not huge, massive meals, but I already knew that he was having problems with certain types of foods, so I had basically asked him to restrict his diet to only the foods that he was not allergic to, so he was basically eating fish, chicken, turkey, and eggs, and a little bit of vegetables on the side. So he was like on a modified carnivore diet, and he started losing a lot of weight, and that enhanced his ketogenesis. You see? So I'm manipulating him a little bit more than I did by metabolic patient. My metabolic patient, I'm a little bit more careful with, and so I'm individualizing a lot. I'm very aggressive with obese patients. So you know, Jesse, I've had a patient that fasted for 183 days. 183 days. He had no food. He only had water, black tea, black coffee, green tea, a little bit of MCT oil, electrolytes in his water. And he went from 400 pounds to 210 pounds. And when he walked in here, nobody knew that he lost all this weight. He just looked so good. Now, how come he looked so good? Because his skin was not hanging under his arms. And his face didn't look like it was a skeleton with the skin just hanging over it. And say, oh my goodness, look at him. No, his skin was nice. His belly, he didn't have an apron. Now, you know what I'm talking about, where the patients have...
And beautifully, that goes to show, man, these doctors, when they giving these people the liposuction and they on medicine and all that to lose all this weight fast and all that, it's a different type of weight loss when you literally fast from food, right? Shit, we seen it in the Elder, man, in Elder Kazak. When you see the videos from him that was 3 and 4 years ago, you know, he was much bigger, man. Now he's probably 50 pounds under that, you know. But yeah, the body undergoes different stages, so to speak. Rather than taking something like, I believe it's called Ozempic, or going to go get some liposuction.
Lost all this weight all of a sudden, and all the skin is there, and now they have to go for plastic surgery to remove it. And the question is, why didn't that happen? Why didn't that happen? Because when you do fasting, and you get autophagy as well, and the fasting physiology takes away some of the skin as well. So your skin actually retracts. It's not just getting rid of only fat, because if I did a total body liposuction on you, you'll be left with all the skin. So in my diet program, my weight loss program, my fasting programs, I see that my patients' skins are better. Under their arms, they don't have this thing hanging out. Versus those who do it in other ways, including drugs, by the way, weight loss drugs. I've seen it in them. Because remember, not every patient's going to follow my advice. Some of them come in here and they've already been given drugs. Yes, they've lost 40 pounds or 30 pounds. But I can tell from the moment they walk in through the door, I can see their face and I can tell them that, yes, you've been on drugs, and I can see their arms and their belly. It's a different type of weight loss. Fasting is a different type of weight loss. And it's the weight loss that millions of years of evolution has supported, and your physiology has supported you. He's an extreme, but I've got dozens and dozens of patients that have fasted 50 days, 40 days, and they had dire circumstances, that bad diabetes, joint disease, sleep apnea, just name it. They were basically dying. And you got to do this. But they come back feeling amazing. And their energy levels are extremely high, by the way. Because look, one thing you need to understand. When they get into ketogenesis, these patients feel amazing. Their energy levels are good. I feel amazing when I'm in ketones. My brain functions better, my reflexes are faster, my memory is great. By the end of the day, people say to me, "Doctor, at 5:30, you're still so sharp," because I'm probably making a lot of ketones at that time. See? So ketogenesis does give you a certain affect that is just very useful. So I find that patients feel lousy. Okay, so backtracking. Day 1, a little bit hard, but doc, I managed. Day number 2, a little bit harder. I got really hungry at the end of the second day, so I really had to force myself to go to bed. Takes a little bit of MCT oil. I took the electrolytes. They did make me feel better, and then I went to bed. Third day, I began to feel a little bit nicer, but it was also kind of a rough day. But by the time my fourth day came around, I felt good. I did not go through any problems. I was full of energy. And on my fifth day, I was really on top of my game. I actually even went to the gym because you told me to exercise in a fasting state. So I went to the gym. I felt really good on the fifth day. And honestly, doc, I could have gone on, but you told me to do 5 days. So I stopped at 5 days. So how often do I hear this? I hear this all the time. It's not like, doc, I was miserable on the second day, and third and fourth was even worse, and on the fifth day I was just terrible. No, they get better. So the endurance is important. So again, educating the patient, giving them the support. Support how? You need a coach. You need a team that you can call. Hey, you call my team that I have over here, for example. This is what I'm going through. This is what I'm feeling. And we can guide you through how to get through that. But the worst day usually is the third day. But after the third day, prolonged fasting becomes easier and easier to do. And you just got to get mad. Look, you got to get mad. Okay? Just get mad. Because you have to take back your health. No one's going to take it back. Nobody. It's your responsibility. And this is something that I tell patients that, look, it's your responsibility and you need to take your life back. Do you love yourself? Do you deserve it? Do you deserve better health? Do you deserve better relationships? Do you deserve more out of life? So part of this is all psychology as well. Talking to patients and motivating them to say, look, this is what's at the end of this tunnel here. Let's do it. And you just got to get determined and you just got to say, that's it, I'm going to do this. That's what I want. So doing this is really important. That is why I'm saying that fasting touches on metabolic, obesity, joint disorder, coronary calcium, atherosclerosis, inflammation. We talked about the plaque ruptures. All that goes down. Inflammation, the gut. Oh my goodness, we can talk about the gut. The gut changes completely. Of course, the patient comes to me on the third day. Doc, I used to have a bowel movement every day. Now I'm having a bowel movement every other day. And I said, well, nothing went in, so nothing will come out. That's okay. Nothing wrong with that. Oh, but you told us that, you need a good bowel movement a day. I say, yeah, when you're eating, you need a good bowel movement at least once a day. So there's some things that they need to get used to. Water. Now, I can tell you more about water. Why is water and electrolytes so important? And now I'm going to explain to you why it's important. So don't try to do dry fasts, okay? So, 10 glasses of water with electrolytes.
And I'm not going to sit here and say that because Us being the Hebrew Israelites in the true Hebrew Israelite faith, we have to do what's called the Day of Atonement, and you don't want to break that, you don't want to break that at all. So at times we do have to do a complete full dry fast, But doing straight water fast for 2 and 3 days at a time, hey man, that helps too, Yeah, but I don't care whether he recommends a complete dry fast. I don't give a damn, because my Lord said that that's what we got to do. So that's just that.
It's at least once a day. Why do I do that? Because as your insulin level comes down, your sodium level in your body goes down, because insulin holds on to sodium. So now when your insulin levels come down, you're going to pee out the sodium into your urine. So you can get intravascular volume depletion very quickly. When you are fasting, patients come back and tell me, hey, I was fasting and I made more urine on the days that I was fasting. Well, of course, because you're getting what is known as natriuresis, salt coming out in your urine, the salt that your body held on to, because your insulin levels are coming down and therefore it's releasing that salt. So you can get intravascular volume depletion. So you need your electrolytes. If you're getting cramps, you need to take electrolytes. So the electrolytes that I use is called LMNT. Sometimes I just take Celtic salt, half a teaspoon, put it in a glass of water, shake it up, drink it. Sometimes I take Himalayan salt, put it in there, shake it up, drink it, at least once a day, especially if you're getting cramps. I do that, because the electrolytes are really important. If you're feeling terrible, you're getting a headache, you're lethargic, you're feeling tired, what are you supposed to do? First things first, take your blood pressure, make sure it's not too low. If your blood pressure is low, you have a problem, you call your caregiver and say, look, my blood pressure usually runs 120, it's now only 90. You're probably very volume depleted and electrolyte depleted. So if you're taking blood pressure medications, you need to stop that. And then I tell them, okay, fine, you just need to be rehydrated. Come into your office and maybe I'll give you an IV. I don't do that to every patient, but occasionally, maybe 1 out of 20 patients, I'll put them in the office for an hour or so and give them some saline, and then off they go. But you can do this. How? Drink water, at least 10 glasses of water a day. Put some electrolytes in at least 1 or 2 glasses a day. Okay? So you're going to get and they come with the minerals and everything else. What is MCT oil for fasting? MCT oil is a short-chain fatty acid. It's immediately available to the body as soon as it goes in for metabolism. And who's metabolizing this? Who's using it? It's your mitochondria. So obviously, how are you going to feel? Mitochondria starts utilizing it immediately. It's a great energy source immediately for your body. So you're feeling down because maybe your ketones haven't kicked in yet. Maybe it's day number 2 and your ketones haven't kicked in yet. You take some exogenous MCT oil and you will find that you'll feel so much stronger and so much better. Women, if they take more than a tablespoon, they can get some loose bowel movements more than men. You can take a tablespoon a day without any difficulty in most patients. You can even take 2 tablespoons if you get used to it. So I do use MCT oil in my patients to help them overcome the fast. And then I do use green tea and black tea, black coffee. In some patients, I do add some fat because they say, Doug, I'm so hungry. I'm going to basically break my fast. And I'll tell them, okay, you like coffee? Yes. I miss the cream. All right. Put a little bit of butter in it. So they'll take a small piece of butter, maybe a quarter teaspoon, even half a teaspoon, and they put it in their hot coffee. And you'll be surprised what it does. It doesn't break the fast, but it satiates the patient immediately. His hunger goes away, and he's able to come through. So all these are little clues that I give the patients that they can actually do. During the fast, they should not do other supplements that come with colorings and artificial flavorings and sweeteners. No, you're fasting, you want to detoxify, because part of fasting is also detoxification, which we haven't even talked about yet because we've been talking about metabolism. But fasting, what it does to your microbiome and what it does to your detoxification, that's a huge topic which we can't talk about. But fasting touches on all these different aspects. So don't toxify yourself while you're trying to detoxify through fasting. So very important stuff. Yeah.
Getting into some specifics here with the MCT oil, how do you feel about the liquid versus the powder? And then there are different carbon chains, the C8, the C10. Do you find a certain one's better than others?
Not really. I don't even differentiate, and whether you use the powder or the oil makes no difference to me whatsoever. Absolutely. I'm a practical person. As long as it worked for you, I'm fine. See, there are some people who will split hairs about these things, the oil versus the powder. Look, I'm very practical, down to earth. What's my purpose of giving you MCT? To make you feel better so that you can hold on to your fast. Because that's my goal with you. Make you fast and don't break your fast. So I have no problems with that whatsoever. Yeah. And I don't get into the C8, C10 stuff because I don't think it's clinically that relevant. I haven't seen too much data on that either. So, yeah.
What about exogenous ketones? Jumping right over that step of converting the MCT into ketones and just putting them right into the body. How do you feel about that?
There is information on that, and there is data to show that. Rhonda Patrick talks about that as well with Dominic, and they talk about that. And yes, it does help. Have I done it to many patients? I can tell you I've probably done it to a handful of patients where I've given them exogenous ketones because they do become an immediately available energy source. So when would I probably do that? When would I do that? Give them exogenous. Somebody who really needs to do the fasting absolutely has to do it, and they just not able to overcome the lack of energy, the symptoms of extreme fatigue, tiredness that they're feeling. Then I sometimes may say that, okay, you need to go out and get some exogenous ketones into your system temporarily, and I might do that. But I exhaust all other possibilities. So that's the last resort. But it does work, by the way. It does work. Does it? It makes your symptoms better. Does it improve your overall physiology of the weight loss, the goal? No, it doesn't, because the ketogenesis that you get from fasting and the subsequent biological effects, which is the autophagy, the brain-derived neurotropic factor, the stem cell mobilization, will not occur when you inject the other substances IV. It's a different physiology. Yes, you're going to feel a little bit better, but you're not going to get all that other benefit because ketogenesis is just one part. Your ketones are there, yes, but they are a product of your physiology that changes. That's one thing that changes, but there's a whole bunch of other chemistry that's in the background because of the fasting. Not because of just the ketones. Now, ketones themselves are helpful because they burn better and they're an energy source for the brain as well as the rest of the body. But if you just give ketones only, you're still missing out on all the other biochemistry that occurs because of fasting. Fasting is not only about an energy source. It's truly about your metabolism. It's about mTOR, it's about AMP, it's about your NAD/NADH ratios, it's about your stem cells, which we can talk about also, my goodness. And it's all about your brain-derived neurotropic factor, your growth hormones. All these things change with fasting. Fasting is the way. There's no real shortcut. I can hack it with I can hack your symptoms with some supplements, but that's about it. That's not the goal, though.
If you enjoyed that clip, you're going to want to head over here and catch the full episode.
With that, I'm going to say shalom, Akil.